It's the season of the dinosaur. The world's top paleontologists dig into Canada's prehistoric past to unearth a living world buried in time.
Bingo! We got dinosaurs.
They'll battle heat and floods and the ticking clock as they track the footsteps of dinosaurs. And the most incredible creatures ever to walk the earth will live again on Dino Hunt. 66 million years ago, an asteroid slammed into the Earth, a cosmic collision that ended the age of the dinosaurs. Or did it? Today, on Dino Hunt, two teams are digging for clues to the 66-million-year-old question: what killed the dinosaurs? In the grasslands of Saskatchewan, the McGill team traces a titan's last steps. And in Drumheller, Alberta, the Tyrell team is searching for a rare horned dinosaur. If the teams can find more bones, they'll know how the giants lived and died. In Montreal, a team of McGill University paleontology students is gearing up and heading west. They're prepping for a 3-week-long expedition in Saskatchewan.
There's dead things in here.
Yeah.
They'll be working under paleontologist Hans Larson of McGill's Redpath Museum.
I love dinosaurs. I think most people love dinosaurs. And putting more dinosaurs on display, I think, will be a very great thing for this museum.
Larson has been on dinosaur hunts from Nunavut to Africa, pursuing a particular interest in how dinosaurs evolved, tracing their story until their extinction and beyond. Understanding what took these titans down gives a vivid picture of the world 66 million years ago.
The mass extinction event is filled with lots of controversy. I mean, we know that all non-bird dinosaurs went extinct at that time. How they went extinct is a big question, though. Was it a slow event or fast event? Which things were going first? What are the dynamics?
To get to where the answers are buried takes a 3,500-kilometer road trip to the prairies.
Welcome to Saskatchewan.
They're heading for a dig site in Grasslands National Park in Saskatchewan's Badlands.
The main reason for going out is that we have a beautiful set of rocks, which are right around the end Cretaceous mass extinction.
They're filled with the bones of some of the last dinosaurs to walk the Earth.
We're going to a site where we found a partial duck-billed dinosaur, Edmontosaurus, huge.
Edmontosaurus was a massive plant eater that disappeared 66 million years ago.
We have one of the last dinosaurs out there. And we have this now potential to explore some questions like were dinosaurs still evolving just before the mass extinction? That would be phenomenal.
Most of the team is made up of rookies and city kids who have no idea what's in store for them. But it's not going to be summer camp.
I bring students with me who have often never been to Western Canada before. It's often the first times they're sleeping in tents.
With the camp set up, the serious work begins. To find the answer to one of the contentious questions of all time: what killed the dinosaurs? Dinosaurs first evolved 230 million years ago, ruling until their extinction 66 million years ago. They disappeared the same time that an asteroid slammed into the Yucatan Peninsula with the force of 10 billion nuclear bombs. But did the asteroid kill the dinosaurs? Or were their numbers already shrinking? 600 kilometers west, another team of bone diggers is asking the same question. 70 million years ago, in what is now Drumheller, Alberta, dinosaurs may have already been affected by environmental changes, long before the asteroid hit. And evidence of their final footsteps might be embedded in these rocks. That's what paleontologist François Terrien wants to find.
Fossils have been known here in southern Alberta for probably millennia. They were known by the First Nations in those days. They just didn't know what the fossils belonged to.
Terrier's expeditions take him to locations across Europe and North America, studying the bone shapes and habitats of dinosaurs, and collecting clues to create a picture of what this lost world might have looked like. And he thinks some of the best evidence is right here in the rocks near the Red Deer River.
So the question I'm asking is, are climatic and environmental changes responsible for the extinction of dinosaurs, or was the meteorite impact 66 million years ago the sole cause for the extinction of the dinosaurs?
Terrier works for the Royal Tyrrell Museum in Drumheller, Alberta, which is home to Canada's largest bone collection. And it's filled with fossils from the last days of the dinosaurs. This summer, Terrier's looking to add a unique prize, an Orinoseratops. It lived 70 million years ago, just as he believes the climate started to change. Skulls are the only fossilized evidence of this species, and they've only been found in Drumheller.
What's really exciting about Orinoseratops is it's probably the rarest horned dinosaur ever discovered in Alberta. But Orinoseratops was only known based on 2 skulls, and that was it, and there was no remains of the rest of the body.
A skeleton would help Terrier understand how the dinosaur fit into its changing world, and whether it was already vulnerable to environmental changes in the time leading up to the asteroid's impact. Terrier enlists the help of his museum team.
There's been a few times that we've come down to the site, and flying the river has been a bald eagle. You don't get that in an office. It's not even like a job. It's like, yay, I get to go do my hobby today.
The team started working on this dig after a local stumbled on some bones here last year.
So you just have to gently pick away, keeping an eye out for everything.
Donna McLeod has spent 10 years mining fossils in Drumheller and recreating dinosaurs for the museum's exhibits. Her trained eye spots a 70-million-year-old jawbone. And it looks like it comes from the dinosaur they're searching for.
I have a dentary of a ceratopsian. We believe it's a Orinoseratops. This is the back of the jaw.
The team is panning for gold, hoping for the big win, and Donna has just found the first nugget. A complete Orinoceratops skeleton would enhance their image of the dinosaur world and the changes they had to contend with. In Saskatchewan, the McGill crew is on the move to where they uncovered the Edmontosaurus last year. With no roads to the dig site, they're starting their workday with a 6-kilometer hike.
We're heading now to an outcrop of the Frenchman Formation that preserves the boundary of the end Cretaceous, the boundary that actually signifies the total extinction of all dinosaurs and about 75% of all life as was known back then on the planet.
The trek through 40-degree heat is worth the sweat. Proof of the mass extinction is right underfoot.
Let's have at it.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And a swing of the pickaxe reveals the line between the present and the prehistoric past.
This is often called the KT boundary, and KT stands for Cretaceous Tertiary. This line is dated at 66 million years ago. And what's really cool is that it's so simple. Everything below here has dinosaurs, everything above has no dinosaurs. That's the extinction of all dinosaurs as we knew it.
The boundary marks the moment a 10-kilometer-wide asteroid smashed into what is now Mexico, triggering a hellstorm of fire and ice. Billions of tons of debris were launched into the sky, blocking the sun and ushering in a perpetual winter. Some of the debris fell here, and Hans has found a simple way to identify it.
It's pure clay. That's the boundary. If you taste it, it has no grit at all. So it's sort of like toothpaste. And it's filled with shock quartz and iridium from the fallout. And that's a taste of death.
These rocks hold some of the last dinosaurs to walk the Earth 66 million years ago. Now the team just has to find them. Was it a single cataclysmic event that took the dinosaurs down, or was climate change the architect of their extinction? Two teams search for clues to the same mystery. What killed the dinosaurs? In Alberta, the Tyrell team is on the hunt for a first-ever Orinoseratops skeleton.
Is that a new one? It's new? Oh, yeah.
And in Saskatchewan, the McGill crew unearths a 5-ton giant that could hold the answer to the end of dinosaurs.
Where the skeleton leads us will be the mystery.
In Western Canada, two teams are searching for the answer to the age-old question: what killed the dinosaurs? In Drumheller, Alberta, the Tyrell team is looking for the first bones from an Orinoseratops body. And in Saskatchewan's Grassland National Park, the McGill crew is digging for the truth about the end of the dinosaurs. They're so close to the answer they can taste it.
That's a taste of death.
These rocks were formed 66 million years ago.
Some of these animals are obviously extinct. Some of the other animals we find here are still around today. The turtle that this came from still live in rivers and lakes.
If some animals survived the asteroid impact, then why didn't the dinosaurs? Larson thinks that a huge plant eater called Edmontosaurus may hold the answer to this mystery.
There's only one giant hadrosaur at this time in the rock record, the Edmontosaurus. And if we can get enough of it, we can test, is this Edmontosaurus different than the Edmontosaurus that are found below it?
Those differences could provide clues as to what was going on in the ecosystem right before the mass extinction.
We want to know what is the extinction pattern out there. And if we can figure out the pattern, maybe we can get a little bit closer to even the process. Was the impact the process? Was it the gun that actually took out the planet?
He found some of the 5-ton creature last year, and he's back to find the rest.
There's two lower back, or sort of back of the back, vertebrae from a large duck-billed dinosaur. We've excavated here last year just to explore, see what's here, and we found a bunch of ribs. And then we buried it because we didn't have a collecting permit for it at the time. And this year we have a collecting permit. So we're going to expose it back up and collect as much of this as we can. And so where else the skeleton leads us will be the mystery for the next few days. Let's dance.
The hunt for the Edmontosaurus is underway, but this isn't the first one found in the Badlands of Saskatchewan. In the 1870s, Ottawa sent a team of surveyors here to map the new border with the United States. And a member of that crew became Canada's first dinosaur hunter.
George Mercer Dawson was part of the Geological Survey of Canada that mapped the 49th parallel from Lake Superior to the Rocky Mountains.
He was the son of the principal of McGill University, William Dawson. A childhood illness had bent his spine, but his spirit and curiosity were unbreakable.
1874, he passed through here, horse and wagon, collected the very first dinosaur fossil in Canada, ever. He shipped the fossils back to McGill, to his dad, and they were identified as a duck-billed dinosaur. 150 years later, it's kind of a nice full circle feeling and story, like for McGill to come back here.
And now the students have uncovered a rib bone from the same gigantic species.
Edmontosaurus is the biggest duck-billed dinosaur in North America. It was a giant. It had skulls greater than 5 feet long.
Edmontosaurus's huge head extended into a rounded toothless beak, which is why they're known as duck-billed dinosaurs.
I'm digging out around this vertebrae right here so that we can trench all the way around it.
Andrews found more evidence showing just how big this Edmontosaurus was. Each vertebra was half a meter tall. Edmontosaurus was 10 meters long, the length of a railroad car. And at 5,500 kilos outweighed an elephant. This was one of the biggest vegetarians of its time. An adult Edmontosaurus needed to consume at least 100 kilos of vegetation every day. Because of the replaceable teeth in the back of its skull, it could actually include wood in its high-fiber diet. In fact, these cows of the Cretaceous era could chew through just about anything, which probably gave them a survival advantage if the food source got scarce, until they became the food source for the meat eaters.
The duckbill was probably scared because the only large predator from this whole unit is T-Rex.
This one was discovered nearby. His name's Scotty, and he's the heaviest T-Rex they've ever found. He's as long as the Edmontosaurus, but broader in the middle. Despite its size, Edmontosaurus was surprisingly fast. And in dense forest, it had a good chance of outmaneuvering its bigger, bulkier stalker. T-Rex and Edmontosaurus were among the last of the dinosaurs. Larson and his students hope the bones will help crack the code and explain why these giants fell, while other species like crocodiles and turtles lived on. In Drumheller, Alberta, Francois Thérien's Tyrell team continues their search for a rare horned dinosaur.
Is that a new one, or is it the one you had before? It's new? Oh, yeah.
The team's hunting an Orinoseratops. Only 2 skulls have ever been found, and very little is known about the body. A skeleton would give them more than the size of the animal. It would help them understand its role in the world in which it lived and died. "70 million years ago, a vast inland sea wound through North America. It created a warm, humid ecosystem. But 4 million years before the asteroid struck, conditions began to change.
So if we look at the outcrop in front of us there, we can see that it's composed of different layers of different rocks, and each of those layers tells us a different story of changing environments. So if we look at the black layer there, it's all a coal bed, so it represents an ancient swamp environment. Just underneath that black line, you have a thick white horizon that represents an ancient river that flowed through there.
The rocks show that, like us, the last dinosaurs had to contend with environmental change. Their inland sea shrank. The jungles died, replaced by cooler, drier forests. We know that Orinoseratops was able to live in this new environment, but did it have to adapt in any way? The only way to know is to find fossils from its body. And just 10 meters from the main dig site, team member Mark Mitchell has unearthed a remarkable discovery.
What you're looking at right now is a shoulder blade or a scapula of a horned dinosaur. And over here is part of the hip or the ilium of a horned dinosaur. These appear to be larger bones. There might be more of a more mature animal, more of an adult animal.
It's a notable find. These are the first bones ever found from the body of an Orinoceratops. Finally, a picture of this long-lost creature is starting to form. With the hunt for the rare dino underway, the Tyrell team hopes to make another historic discovery.
First feathered dinosaurs in the Western Hemisphere? How great is that?
And as the McGill crew looks for the truth about the end of dinosaurs, they also unearth a winged surprise. 2 teams investigate the end of the dinosaurs. In Alberta, the Tyrell team has found Exhibit A in the intricate mystery, but they need more information. And in Saskatchewan, Professor Hans Larsson's McGill crew is uncovering a 5-ton Edmontosaurus, but are keeping their eyes out for other secrets buried in the bone bed.
everything we do is looking for more pieces of the puzzle. This place is awesome because we have all this kind of rock. We have the mass extinction boundary. We have all the fossils. It's the last 300 to 500,000 years of the existence of dinosaurs.
The team knows that some animals, like turtles and lizards, survived the killer asteroid. Why didn't the dinosaurs? Larson needs to find more fossils to answer this question.
We found a partial Edmontosaurus sitting below a fantastically rich site, which has hundreds and hundreds of fossils that we're going to use to estimate the paleo biodiversity of that whole region just before the mass extinction of dinosaurs.
Today, the students have found one of those fossils, a dinosaur posing as an ostrich. Ornithomimids have a lot in common with birds. Their major limb bones are hollow, and their legs hang directly below their bodies. Even their skulls are similar, and they were the fastest dinos on 2 feet.
Ornithomimids are ostrich-mimic dinosaurs. They're speed demons, but they have no teeth in their jaws, and they were probably feeding on plants and maybe omnivorous.
The McGill team has uncovered a bird-like creature in Saskatchewan's Badlands, but it's not the first ornithomimid found in Canada. In 2008, Francois Terrien made an historic discovery. It changed his life, and it changed everything we know about ornithomimids.
So this is the spot. So all we knew is that we had part of a skeleton of an ostrich-mimic dinosaur. When I was chipping away at rocks, that had a lucky break, and on one of the pieces, there were actually the black striations indicating feathers. At first, yeah, we didn't really believe it.
It was the first time feathered dinosaurs had ever been found in North America.
Now we can actually postulate that wings evolved not in flying animals, but in ground-dwelling animals.
The body was covered with a silky hair-like down, and the wings had large, quilled feathers, like a modern flightless bird.
So it gave us an alternate hypothesis for the origin of wings. Why would wings evolve in the first place? It wasn't for flight, it was probably for display and courtship.
Donna McLeod worked on the fossils of the feathered ornithomimids.
It was one of the toughest specimens I've ever prepared, but it turned out phenomenal. First feathered dinosaurs in the Western Hemisphere? Like, how great is that? I actually celebrated by having it tattooed on myself. So that's the feathered ornithomimid. I've nicknamed the male Kirkpatrick because that's where it was found, and the baby I nicknamed Tweety.
In Saskatchewan, Hans Larson and his students continue to dig out the ornithomimid that lived 66.5 million years ago. And as work continues, they uncover one of its smaller feathered cousins.
This is the bone of a bird. It has really, really dense outside, and it has a hole in the center. And this is a really good indication that it's a bird bone. It looked like the birds that we see walking around today.
Scientists now believe that all birds are descended from dinosaurs. While the dinosaurs disappeared 66 million years ago, they left a genetic legacy you can see in the skies today. Both teams need more answers. The McGill crew has just 3 days to figure out which dinosaurs outlived Armageddon and why. And in Alberta, the Tyrell team have found the body of an Orinoseratops. Now they need to find its friends and enemies.
It was a death area. They came by and took what they could have.
In the Badlands of Saskatchewan, the McGill crew has uncovered evidence suggesting that some animals survived the killer asteroid. But why didn't the dinosaurs? And in Alberta, the Tyrell teams found bones that confirm the rare horned dinosaur lived in a period of climatic turbulence, but need more fossils to paint a picture of the pre-extinction world.
Here.
70 million years ago, climate change transformed ancient Alberta. Hot, wet jungles dried up and gave way to cooler, sparser forests. Even as the environment changed, the Orinoseratops adapted to it. They endured the new, drier environment.
This animal will actually play a central piece in our understanding of how animals changed over time and how they responded to climatic and environmental changes.
But did other types of dinosaurs survive as well? Their first clue is tiny.
This is a little Troodon tooth. Troodon is like a little velociraptor, about this size, with teeth like this. They definitely would need to be meat eaters, yeah.
Troodons were small predators whose feathers might have acted as insulation, keeping them warm as the world cooled off. But what did Troodon do for dinner?
So obviously it was a death area where there was different parts of animals here, and they came by and took what they could have, opportunists.
As hunters and scavengers, Troodons may have been able to feed off carcasses of the larger animals who couldn't cut it. And because they weren't very big, they didn't need much to survive. Would that mean only smaller dinosaurs survived the colder climate, while the bigger creatures died off even before the asteroid? As work continues, the team finds evidence that plus-sized predators could hunt here too.
So this is a tooth of a dinosaur, probably Albertosaurus, which is a little bit smaller than a T-Rex, but still pretty big.
This isn't the first sign of the big meat eater. Albertosaurus came out of the ground near Drumheller over a century ago. It was discovered by Joseph Tyrell in 1884, when he passed through here working as a geologist for the Canadian government. Today, Canada's biggest dinosaur museum bears his name.
So he was rafting down the Red Deer River to look for this coal, and in the process discovered something totally different, discovered the first skull of an Albertosaurus.
At first, no one knew what to make of his fierce-looking fossils.
And it wasn't until decades later, in 1905, that the first paleontologist to describe T-Rex recognized that the Tyrell specimen was actually closely related to T-Rex and actually gave it the name Albertosaurus because Alberta had just been designated a new province that same year.
But what was Albertosaurus doing sidling up to an Orinoseratops 70 million years ago?
The Albertosaurus were probably scavenging on the ceratopsian material and left their teeth behind as they broke off.
Albertosaurus often left his loose teeth in his prey. Then, like a shark, new teeth would replace them. The tooth points to an interesting possibility. These large predators needed a lot to eat. So these drier forests had to be home to many types of dinosaurs, not just a few smaller species. If the team finds fossils in these hills from a diverse dinosaur community, it will tell them exactly who is adapting to a changing world and who was already destined for extinction. Alberta's dinosaurs lived 70 million years ago. But the ones found here in Saskatchewan date from 4 million years later, just before the killer asteroid hit. The McGill crew has uncovered a 5-ton Edmontosaurus lying just below the extinction boundary.
So we can say that this particular species of dinosaur was alive, at least up until then. And so every time we find a dinosaur closer to the boundary is that much more information. Every single specimen counts.
In this period, 3 main types of dinosaurs dominated the landscape.
Living up to the mass extinction. The dinosaur community certainly is different than what it was 10 million years before. There's only one really giant duck-billed dinosaur. There's one giant horned dinosaur. There's only one giant carnivorous dinosaur. So in terms of species numbers, some groups of dinosaurs went from many to one lineage. So that's a pretty big change.
So was climate change the culprit? 70 million years ago, the vast inland ocean that flowed through this area began to dry up. Many species of dinosaurs vanished with it. But not everything suffered in this new environment.
The interesting little twist to this story is that while the dinosaurs seem to have been decreasing in diversity, All of the other vertebrate animals, the animals that have backbones and teeth, don't seem to have been decreasing in diversity. In fact, they seem to be increasing. All the lizards, the amphibians, the crocodiles, there just seem to be a more diverse assemblage closer to the boundary.
And it wasn't just animals evolving. Plants were diversifying too.
Emily, we have a plant site.
Oh my knee.
I'm betting that was
Here's a leaf blade, and there's a complete stem. This is as exciting as a dinosaur out here, I think, and I love dinosaurs. This is a complete plant leaf from an angiosperm.
Salix is a willow.
It wouldn't be as big as the modern weeping willow, but something like a willow, but just a little bit smaller. And if we get enough of these, a couple hundred, we can tell you what the temperature is, how much it rained, and what the seasonality was. Right here.
The team finds even more leaves. They're proof that just before the dinosaurs died out, even plants were becoming more diverse, adapting and growing into their environment. The forests were becoming home to willows and oaks. Flowering plants were spreading out across the forest floor.
It's tempting to think that the dinosaurs lived in this sort of ecological void. You hardly ever get to see the other amazing creatures that were around at the same time.
We're trying to reconstruct the whole community based on the animals and plants that we're finding. All that is all part of the package.
The dinosaurs had survived 5 million years of climate change, diminished in numbers, but not defeated. But there was another change on the horizon. A shakeup so powerful and devastating, it would alter the face of the Earth for millions of years. With the dig coming to a close, Larson and the McGill crew are on the verge of figuring out what killed the dinosaurs. And in Alberta, the Tyrell team needs more fossils to complete the picture of the rare Orinoseratops. In the Badlands of Saskatchewan, the McGill crew needs an answer. Was it the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs, or were they already doomed to extinction? And in Drumheller, Alberta, the Tyrell team has had encouraging signs that a little-known dinosaur is lying in the bone bed. The team came in search of a horned dinosaur called an Orinoseratops. Just days into the dig, they found part of its jaw. And now, it looks like lightning has struck twice.
With the discovery of a third lower jaw, the second right lower jaw, then it tells us that we have at least yet 2 individuals, unless we have the first horned dinosaur with 2 heads attached, which would be a really cool discovery, but I think it's most parsimonious to say that we have yet 2 individuals in this layer, making it a bone bed.
It's a major discovery, and it tells Terrien a great deal about how this mysterious creature lived.
It's telling us that these animals also probably lived in herds, and this is thanks to this bone bed that we can make that claim now.
As the weather fluctuated and food sources shifted, Orinoseratops was able to adjust to the changing landscape. The fossils suggest that even after the climate changed, there was enough food to sustain entire herds of Orinoseratops. Over the next 4 million years, the climate bounced around. Sometimes warmer, sometimes colder. And during that time of thermal unrest, the number of dinosaur species dropped, but they never surrendered the throne. But there was one catastrophic change that even they couldn't adapt to. Some scientists believe that when the asteroid hit, it put a hole in the Earth 200 kilometers around and 20 kilometers deep. Everything within the blast radius was vaporized. The impact caused a tsunami and fired a cloud of debris into the sky.
The heat probably incinerated everything within several hundreds of kilometers. So burned down everything, causing massive forest fires.
Make it sort of like a nuclear winter where everything would just die because no sunlight.
Temperatures plummeted. Warm weather vegetation withered and died, leaving plant-eating dinosaurs without food.
So without the sun, plants died. Without plants, herbivores died. And without herbivores, carnivores died. eventually the scavengers died too, because you can only eat rotten meat for so long.
So one of the main ideas surrounding the actual extinction itself, there seems to be what's called a size bias towards the survivors.
The food chain was inverted. Large dinosaurs with big appetites were doomed. But it was a good time to be small.
And so whatever turtles, crocodiles, mammals, and some birds were doing, they were doing it right.
Not needing as much food, they managed to hang on, and in time, to thrive. With the Saskatchewan dig coming to a close, Professor Larson and the team have one last job to do. Hump the remains of the world's last dinosaurs back to camp.
As we pull it, all three of us have to get all our 6 hands under it. Okay, all the way. All the way. Beauty.
These protective plaster jackets contain the bones of Edmontosaurus. And a backbone from a small ornithomimid.
Perfect.
Now they'll have to hand carry these treasures 6 kilometers overland back to camp. And with the largest ones tipping the scales at over 100 kilos, they're in for a long haul.
We're all set. If you start sliding, just sit down.
There are no roads close to here, so Larson's team is going old school. 100 years ago, fossils were carried out of the Badlands by hand, even by sled.
Hold on.
Larson is a bit more careful with his finds.
So put your hands on the opposite side. Yep. So, but now it's just smooth sailing.
And with their fossils safely stowed at camp, Larson prepares a special celebratory meal, sprinkled with essence of extinction.
Dinner for tonight will be a rice paella, which I'm making with fresh cilantro that we found in a field nearby. And one thing we're going to add to it is the KT boundary. So this is the iridium fallout ash layer that killed out 75% of life on the planet 66 million years ago. And we use it as seasoning for some of our dishes. I mean, where else can you eat paella with the KT boundary in it? So here you go, guys. Here's the KT mass extinction in paella. Chow's on.
Thank you very much.
For extinction.
Most of life is in there. It might be crunchy.
Yeah, the bacon really complements the flavor of roasted dinosaur.
It's case closed on the end of the dinosaurs. The McGill crew will move from dinosaur extinction to dinosaur creation.
One goal is making a bigger tail. Another goal is making free fingers with claws.
And in Alberta, the Tyrell team has reached its last day of digging. But the surprises keep on coming.
Now that we clearly have evidence of a skull,
After their time in the Badlands, Larson's McGill crew has added new data to the extinction theory and new insights into the 66-million-year-old question, what killed the dinosaurs? But their work is far from over. And in Drumheller, Alberta, Francois Terrien and his Tyrell team have reached the end of an incredible dig. They've unearthed a cache of rare fossils and uncovered some answers to a prehistoric question.
at first, yeah, when we didn't find any evidence of a skull, we were kind of debating whether it would be worth pursuing the excavation. But now that we clearly have evidence of a skull, I think it's definitely going to be worth pursuing. It's definitely not something that's going to be completed this summer.
Their bone bed will be covered with tarps to protect it from the rain and snow.
Do we have a little bit of tape, orange tape? Up there, there's going to be a warning. Bone under there.
Here and in Saskatchewan, the dino hunters have been grappling with the same issues. Were the dinosaurs doomed to extinction before the asteroid sealed their fate? Over millennia, the number of dinosaurs was reduced by environmental forces, but the strong survived and might have eventually returned to the height of their great power, until 135 million years of domination was finally obliterated when an asteroid collided with the blue planet. The giants were gone, but the small creatures lived on, including the dinosaurs we now call birds. When the smoke and ash cleared, the Earth began to heal itself and make a new home for the survivors. In time, they too adapted, rebuilding the animal kingdom and evolving into new giants. And one species of upright mammal came to dominate a world where brains beat brawn.
Yeah.
The dinosaurs may be long gone, but back in Montreal, Hans Larsen thinks there may be a way to bring them back to life.
Just about to start an injection.
One of our directed projects in this lab has been termed the Chickenosaurus project.
Using chicken genes, they're trying to recreate some of the features of their dinosaur ancestors.
I mean, it's not Jurassic Park. Birds are dinosaurs, so we're actually playing with dinosaur DNA. And all we're doing is seeing if we can tinker with the embryology to reveal some of these ancient anatomies. One goal is making a bigger tail. Another goal is making free fingers with claws.
Someday, with a little nudge from the genetic engineers, millions of years of evolution will be unraveled, and the dinosaurs may live again.
We'll keep them very small. There's no sense getting them big.
That dream is years into the sci-fi future. For now, dinosaurs live on in their fossilized remains. And they are everywhere. The first ones were found 140 years ago in the West. But now we know they can be found all across Canada. From coast to coast, Canada is sitting on an incredible natural resource. A world that lived millions of years ago, lying just beneath the surface, waiting to be discovered. Who knows what prehistoric marvels we'll uncover, or what stories the bones will tell on Dino Hunt.